everyone, and welcome to this ABC Boston Legal Season 3 press conference. Today's call is being recorded. To listen to the replay after today's call, please dial 1-888-203-1112. Again, that's 1-888-203-1112, and enter passcode 3347452. That's 3347452. The replay will be available at 3 p.m. Central Time. After opening
what was
remarks
that,
and introductions,
888?
After opening remarks and introductions, we will be conducting a question and answer session. During that time, if you would like to ask a question, please firmly press the star key followed by the digit 1 on your touchtone telephone. At this time, for opening remarks and introductions, I would like to turn the call over to Ms. Stacy Lutz, Vice President, Media Relations and Publicity, David E. Kelly Productions. Ms. Lutz, please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of ABC and 20th Century Fox Television, along with those of us, David E. Kelly, thank you for participating in the Boston Legal Conference call with series creator, writer, and executive producer David E. Kelly, and with back-to-back Emmy Award winner James Spader, who, of course, plays Alan Shore. Operator, we're ready to start.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, if you would like to ask a question, please firmly press the star key followed by the digit 1 on your touchtone telephone. We will come to you in the order that you signal, and if you find that your question has been asked and answered before you can ask it, and you would like to remove yourself from the question roster, please firmly press the pound key. Also, if you're on a speakerphone, please make sure that your mute button is disengaged so that your signal can reach our equipment. Again, that is star 1 to ask the question. And for our first question, we go to Mary Guerin with Hollywood Reporter.
Hi guys, hope you're doing well.
You no good freakalope.
I'm kind of curious how Denny Crane and Ellen Shore got their name. Is there anything? Is there a bit of a story behind that?
Oh,
Hello.
put you in the
David?
dirt.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize. However, we have lost Mr. Kelly. We will get him back online in just a moment. Please stand by.
In the meantime, Barry, I'd like to also add to that if you want to ask him about Jeffrey Coho's name. Jeffrey Coho is the newest character in Boston Legal, played by Craig Bierko. His character will be introduced next week, actually.
I'll be happy to include that and any other character.
Yeah, no, that one in particular is very interesting. Once we get back, I'm sure he'll explain that. James, are you on?
We are still trying to reach Mr. Kelly.
James, are you still on?
Yeah.
Okay. James, do you know how Alan Shore got his name?
I don't have a clue.
Does anyone have a question for James in the meantime while we get David back on board?
Well, looky here. I think we found the one place that ain't swarming with freakalopes.
Are we able to do that while we're getting David back on?
Yes, ma'am. And we should have him in just a moment. And Mr. Kelly is back.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Guerin, please go ahead with your question.
David, did you push that mute button? I promise I did.
Do you want me to repeat that question for you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize, but it cut off as soon as you said it was off the beaten path, so I went to call. Are you fishing?
I was very curious how Denny Crane and Ellen Shore, and perhaps also Jeffrey Coho, got their name. How they found their name. How important was their name?
You know, I don't really remember Alan Shore, because that was so long ago. Sometimes I try to match names with faces. If I had to take a wild guess, when I'm stuck for names, I draw on my little hockey library, and there was a famous hockey player by the name of Eddie Shore who played for the Bruins. And if memory serves me, I plucked that name out of that. Crane, I don't know. That character just sounded like he should have kind of an aggressive name, and Crane seemed to fit. And Coho, believe it or not, is named after one of my favorite fishes.
Okay, and
which is a form of salmon. No, coho is a form of salmon. And then when I, for the first name, it's often this sort of phonetical rhythm. I don't know, Jeffrey Coho, it's a very inexact science. I don't know if I would call it a science, but
And we go next to Rick Morton. That's with that.
Hi, this I guess is primarily for David. In the first couple of episodes, you seem to break one wall a few times with James's comment at the end of the first episode that he feels like a series regular on the series. Denny's
well, yeah, certainly when Denny said cue the music, that definitely was a break in the wall. As for Shore's talking about the series being a character in a television show, you could consider that a break in the wall, but it also kind of not, because I think that's something that Shore might say in because the perception of television characters are that they have to be routine. And Shore had felt that he had fallen into this maybe version that he had to be a bit routine. And I wouldn't go as far as a role model, but he felt a little constrained maybe in his role as chairman. The obligation to be other than generous.
Does that maybe signal a little bit that maybe he will start being a bastard again? Or?
Yeah, I think he does. He is intermittently a bastard, but it may signal a willingness on us to embrace that part of his character. As far as Crane's breaking of the wall, I think historically we've always had a little bit of a wink in the show. I think our viewers are able to wink with us. I think on previous occasions last year, Crane had said headlines like, I won an Emmy. There are other episodes, I think, in the past, Shore and Crane have referenced it, they've hardly seen one another during this episode. It's a license that we'll take from time to time, and I don't think we certainly want to be careful not to throw the audience out of the storyline, but we're not about
And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to ask a question, please simply press the star key, followed by the digit 1. We go next to Eric Deacon with the St. Petersburg.
Hi, this question is for David as well. It seems that the landscape of TV drama has changed quite a bit from the times when we saw shows like The Practice and Ally McBeal at their height. Does it feel any different writing Boston Legal at a time when we've got all these sort of incremental serialized shows on, and that seems to be the flavor of the month these days?
It doesn't really. I mean, I would completely agree with you. I feel that shift in landscape when I turn on the television and watch television, but I don't necessarily feel it when I'm sitting down to write shows. We kind of put the walls up and tunnel into our respective franchise and try to, write the truth of that particular show. I've never been one to try and put a marketing hat on and say, okay, this is what is selling, therefore let's produce this. I don't profess to be very good at it. I would probably fail. So I guess the short answer is, yeah, I agree the landscape is different. It seems to be more diverse, which I think is a good thing. But as far as it impacting me as a writer and producer of my shows, I tend not to think.
And I was wondering, I mean, we're at, I'm so used to TV seasons is there a reason why we haven't seen you associated with a greater number of shows more recently?
I'm getting older and a little more tired. I had a great time doing two shows when it was Allie and Practice, and they were very opposite, and I could escape from one world to the other. 3 shows was a bit of a burden, and I think I ideally wanted to get back to 1 show or 2 shows at the most, because what I was missing when I was doing that many shows, quite frankly, is the communal part of television, which is what I've loved best, and that's getting to not be a complete foreigner on your set and meet the people. When you're busy trying to get 3 scripts out in a 12-day period, you tend to be very isolated in the room, and the only people you see over the course of your writers. And not even enough of them, because you're writing yourself so much. So I think it was a decision of mine to scale back a little bit, focus more on a small number of shows. I'm not beyond trying to do 2 shows because I quite like the diversity of being able to write for 2 different editors. But I don't think there'll ever be a time that I will be hands-on writing any more than 2.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
Sure.
The final reminder that is star 1 if you would like to ask a question. And again, if you want to leave it on, please click so that your signal to our quick. Again, that is star 1 to ask a question. We go next to Lynette Wright with Entertainment.
Hey, David, this is probably an extension of what you just said. I actually have 2 questions. Since the show is established, it does feel like the perfect time to see what you've got up your sleeve next. Do you have anything in development? If you have an idea that you can talk about that's next? And also, I'm curious, all the new fall shows, particularly the dramas, are there any that interest you and that you're curious to check out?
Well, on my slate first, I'm working on a show called, it's an adaptation of a BBC show called Life on Mars. And the plan for that is probably to be on next schedule. In terms of this fall schedule, I'm just now sampling shows along with everybody else. I think the landscape looks pretty good. I think that there's probably more diversity on the air than in the past, which seem to be sort of inundated with procedural shows. I saw Studio 60 on Monday night. A tremendous occasion for television to have both Aaron Sorkin and Tommy Schlamme being back part of our medium, because great contributors to it in the past, and obviously going to be again. As far as other new shows, I guess this is the week we start to sample them all.
Cool, thank you.
And we go next to Rita Sherrill with The Puzzle World.
Hi, I just wanted to ask James a question. How are we going to see Alan Shore this season? What are you expecting out of him, or what should viewers expect out of him this season?
I'm not entirely sure. That's one of the fun things that I've found with working in television that was not the case when I was doing films, is that it changes from week to week, and I think that probably if I could say anything, it would be even more variety than last year. I think that last year the show was sort of refinding itself again over the course of the season, and Alan was being blown with the winds of the show, and I think that as he is, I think that he has to wear a certain amount of hats on the show, but I think that if I could wish for anything, it would be that there is an inconsistency, that it is as surprising as it can possibly be, and that just when you think you know where it's going to go, it goes somewhere else entirely. I think that probably that there has been a desire for more confrontation and more trouble, I think that he certainly has alluded, or David has alluded with episodes and Alan's musings in episodes that he is uncomfortable with the comfort that he has been feeling at the firm, that he's restless, and that he is going to be up to no good probably. That's what I hope for, because I think that's what creates turmoil.
And is he going to stay lonely?
I don't know. I think that may be a state of being. I've never known him not to be partly that. I don't know. I mean, I'm still getting to know who he is too. It's sort of a strange experience to be doing somebody for 3 years, playing somebody. I don't know a lot about him. I know a certain amount, but that's the quality I've always sort of found about him. I mean, I think he's got a tremendous appetite for life, and at the same time, I think he takes life with a healthy dose of humor. But at the same time, there's certainly a melancholy side to him that is very alive and vital, and I think he revels in that sort of.
Still got it.
I think that sort of goes hand in hand. I think it drives him a bit. I think maybe that drives him a little bit. It pushes him towards the eccentrics that he loves so dearly.
And the eccentrics that you like to play?
Yeah, I think he certainly is, and I guess I've certainly played my share in my time, but I know he certainly is, and he certainly has a great fondness for that. It's so funny as I can hear David's heart beating on the other end of the phone. It's funny, all of this, as I've gotten to know David better and better, and I got to know the show, and really all of this, as I hear myself speaking, especially when I'm speaking in front of David about this character in the show in general, it's amazing how much I realize how much of this is an extension of David. David has a great love and fondness for eccentrics and curious people and oddities.
No zombies!
And I happen to as well, but I think that's the he loves that, and that's the world that he creates to a great degree. A lot of the characters in the show have that. Denny certainly is an extremely eccentric character. And Alan is as well, and Alan's greatest times, I think, are spent with the
come on, we like company!
I mean, they go on and on. It never really gets weird enough for him, I don't think.
Does it ever get too weird for you?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have no further questions on our roster. Therefore, Mr. Lutz, I'll turn the conference back over to you for any closing remarks.
Here they come again!
Thank you. Just one last thing, David, if you could talk for a moment about the South East team, which has to resonate with audiences. I think beyond anyone's wildest imagination, can you talk about how that team came to be?
That's what chemistry with characters usually is. It kind of happens. The writer can't orchestrate it. It's the actors bringing characters to life that somehow realize it. And we really stumbled to the idea pretty early in the series that one of the biggest, if not the biggest component of the series is that relationship. Crane and Shore. It's a perfect example to allow them to be intimate, for them to ruminate, to them to wonder, for them to ponder, share their fears and laughter about life. And it also served as a vehicle for us as writers to reflect on the episode, some of the more far-reaching questions or emotions that the episodes touch on.
And one last thing, moving into season 3, we're introducing a new character in Jeffrey Coho, played by Craig Bierko. Can you talk for a minute about the impetus for that and what Jeffrey Coho, what your intentions are for that character?
Well, we introduced Jeffrey Coho in a pretty conventional way. And we introduced him as we introduce a longer story arc in the form of this murder trial. As we go along, other characters, we will peel layers back of this character to render him an animal with his own eccentricities and flaws as well. So I think we seduce the audience with the idea that this may be at long last a straight-ahead lawyer without demons and foibles. We reversed that bubble probably by showing 4 or 5 and revealed him to be just another nut in the
Rufus, do we have any other questions?
And we have no further questions.